As states like Florida, Georgia, and Kentucky begin to slowly reopen their state economy, and many other states are going to follow, the question comes, well, are we able to now have events and weddings again? I don't know, should we? That's a very legitimate question to be asking, but then I grapple with trying to play on both sides of that spectrum. One side is, yes, I have a team that needs to be paid, I have a business that needs to start back up, or it's going to be non-existent. And on the other hand, I have my health and me being able to live years to come to be able to do what I love, which is going to take precedence during this time. And I think that what is important to do right now is to have a plan in place for sustainable events post-COVID-19. And a plan in place means that we have multiple levels that we have to ensure are working in sync in order to protect the guests and attendees that are at events and weddings. And here's what that looks like. From a venue perspective, the question now becomes, how am I able to sanitize my entire venue? And if I'm able to sanitize that, how often is the venue going to be sanitized? How am I able to monitor my staff and determine whether or not someone is sick if I don't have the ability to actually test them for COVID-19? What policies do I have in place as it relates to cancellation from my end, or even cancellation from clients that are asking to book my space? As it relates to event planners and vendors, the question now becomes, what recommendations am I giving to my clients to give them the most accurate information to make the wisest decisions? They look to us as the experts, so we have to do the background checks to make sure that whatever we give to them is in line with what our local officials are providing to us every single day. It also goes to asking ourselves, how are we protecting ourselves? What protective equipment do we have? How are we sanitizing the equipment that we bring to events and to weddings? It also goes to, how are we practicing better physical distancing for the attendees that are there? Are we providing sanitation standards that is going to prevent the spread of COVID-19? And from a client perspective, there is a lot of responsibility that you also have to take on. You as the client have to inform your guests what measures are being taken to protect them. They want to understand if you're having hand sanitizing stations. They want to understand if you're practicing better physical distancing with things like not having 10 people at a reception table, or if you're inviting less people and still allowing them to have more space to roam around. So many questions at each and every one of these levels that we have to delve into in order to practice proper social distancing, physical distancing in a sustainable event environment post-COVID-19. Now is the time to actually start having those conversations with your planner, with your venue, with your vendors, and make sure that that game plan is as solid as possible. Everything from event insurance, liability clauses, cancellation clauses, all of those things have to be concentrated on now. But most importantly, you have to understand that no event is more important than the lives of the attendees that are actually there. If you feel as if there's too much risk involved in executing an event or a wedding, the best option is to postpone it. There's nothing wrong with moving back your date. We understand that a lot of emotions are involved in this, but at the same time, it's not bigger than the lives of the people that you love. Let's create that plan to have sustainable events post-COVID-19.